All right, so this was our third and final session on Raz-Plus, and this session focuses on assessment. And Chris has asked us to identify the learning goals for our PDs. So these are your learning goals. Hopefully by the end of today's training, you will be able to identify what your options are in Raz-Plus for assessing your students. And you will have the basic how-to of how you would go about administering the different kinds of assessments that are available. And we'll look at each of those. And then finally, I think one of the most powerful things about Raz-Plus is all the reports it can generate for you that help you analyze student data and use that data to inform your instruction. So we're going to start with a big broad overview. And then we're going to hone in on their benchmark assessments. And I should point out that these are not official AWRSD benchmark assessments. It's not like how you're supposed to use your math scores. You're supposed to have math scores in by certain dates so that the administrators could see how your students are progressing in math. These are what Raz-Plus calls benchmark assessments. So it's not required by the district. It's completely optional. And then we'll end by looking at student reports. Questions on what we're doing today? I heard something maybe from the chat window, but I can't see it. So if you asked a question in the chat window, just unmute and ask it out loud.
Sorry, Tiffany, that's me. I was just putting some links in.
Oh, no worries.
All right,
Thanks.
it's Benna. Sorry.
Welcome. All right, so let's look at all your options. And what I'm going to try to do here is give you a quick overview. Then we'll go to Raz-Plus and look at it from the teacher perspective and the student perspective. So there is a diagnostic assessment built into Raz-Plus. Some grade level teams are choosing to use this, some are not. It's called a reading placement tool, and this is an example of what it looks like. And again, I will show you the student perspective in just a minute. But basically, it will assign a reading level to a student or to a whole class after they go through the reading placement tool. A lot of teams have said, we already know where our kids are and we want to assign the levels, and you can do that so students don't have to go through the reading placement tool. So I'm going to escape out of the slides and go take a look in Raz-Plus. So here I am in my teacher account. And if I go to manage students and look at my roster, you can see if I switch from the general settings to the Raz-Plus settings, here's where kids' reading levels are located. And so these are students who have either gone through the reading placement tool or I assigned them a reading level, but I left one student, or I just added a new student actually, who hasn't been assigned a reading level yet. So we're going to go sign in as that OMS test and take a look. But you can see this is a drop down, right? Which gives you the learning A to Z leveling system, which is a little different, right? It's unique to them, but they have a correlation chart where you can match up what a Fontes and Pinnell reading level would be in Raz-Plus or reading A to Z. So this is where you as the teacher would assign the reading level if you didn't want students to go through the placement tool. So let's go look at the student perspective. So I'm going to sign in as that student who's never been assigned a reading level. Now, this student is on the intermediate portal, student interface. It would look a little different if it were a K-2 student. So remember, you can switch the portal for your students. I really think for third grade, like the primary portal will be better. But you can see the student can do nothing until they do the reading placement tool. They have no other options available to them. And I don't think you can hear it because I have my AirPods in, but it's reading what's in the speech bubble to me in this perky little voice. So I'm just going to randomly answer A on all the questions to get through this quickly, but I just wanted you to see what it looks like. And how long it is. And you can tell it's assigned me to the lowest level because I did not do very well on my reading placement quiz. So questions about the diagnostic that's built in.
I just have a quick question. So I was looking at my Raz kids here on my Chromebook. So how many questions roughly was it, or does it depend upon the level, I would assume?
I think it depends on how well they do. You can see, I think I had like 4 pages of passages on the left, and there's 1 question per passage. So I think I could tell that I wasn't doing very well. If I did better, I think it would be a little bit longer.
So you're thinking roughly like 15 minutes? I guess it depends upon the grade level, right?
Yes, I think it does.
And does it start right from the very, very beginning? If
It starts at the lowest possible level.
Oh.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. So regardless of the grade, like if that was on, it's as low as it can go.
Exactly.
Can you jumpstart it? Can you have them start their diagnostic at a different level, knowing if you know their reading level?
Not that I know of. That's a good question. I can ask. I've never seen that. I think it's a either or. Either you start at the beginning and it figures it out. And again, it's like IXL that it adjusts. So if the kid's doing well, it gives them harder passages and questions. And if the kid is not doing well, it keeps them at the easiest level. But I don't think I think you can assign a level, but that bypasses the whole reading placement tool.
For anyone who's done it, has anyone ever given them the diagnostic at home? Is it something that can be done at home? Or is it too much parent involvement and do you think it has to be done at school? I mean, I haven't used it, so I'd love to know the
If I could just add that while looking through all of my students, some teachers who assigned the placement test to be done at home, for example, I have a 5th grader who reads at a 2nd grade level, but was placed on level X. So I think they did have help. So that's a really valid point, right? They're, mom, dad, help me. So, but I don't know if there's time to do it at school, but I personally, I think it's best to do it at school.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Or just assign them a reading level based on other data that you have. A lot of grade level teams did that. They just said, based on my Dibble scores, I'm putting this kid at a level U.
Okay, that's what I might do. Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, so let's go on to the next option, which is there are a lot of formative assessment tools available to you. So I'm going to start sharing my screen again, and we'll take a look at those. So probably the most used formative assessment tool in Raz-Plus by the teachers that I know are using it so far is the quizzes. And this is just straight reading comprehension. The quizzes are available in multiple locations. So the reading room is like the free choice area of Raz-Plus. And so students can choose to listen to a book, read a book, and then they have the option to take a quiz at the end. But it's everything in the reading room is completely optional. And you can see in the reading room, they don't have quizzes at the lower levels because they know the kids can't read the questions or the answers, right? So they do have to be at least at a level C to have a quiz available to them in the reading room. The quizzes are also available and actually required in the level up area of Raz-Plus. So level up is where kids go to try to level up, get to a higher reading level. And again, it's from level C and up. if a student has read a book, then they are asked to complete the quiz. Now they do have to read the book first. The little quiz button is grayed out until they've read the book. And then when you as a teacher, sorry, Jenna, go ahead.
Sorry, to jump in, at the lower level though, something nice about the quizzes, it will read the questions and the answers to the students. So
I didn't realize. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, there's a great, my son's in first grade and he can take a quiz completely by himself because he can have it read the question and the answers to him and then answer the quiz that way.
Thank you for jumping in with that. And then the option that most teachers are using is My Assignment. So when you assign a book, you as the teacher decide, do I want to assign the kids to just listen to the book, read the book, take the quiz, all three? So most teachers, when they assign a book, they have the kids listen to it, read it, and then take the comprehension quiz. So let's go take a look from the teacher perspective at how you would do that last option, assign a quiz. So I'm going to escape out of my presentation and I'm going to go over to my teacher account. So let's say we're doing a unit on snow. We're doing a winter unit. Probably I should choose winter, but close enough. And I always have to go filter, so I only get English books. So let's say I'm going to assign winter is fun. I can hover and assign it from here, right? Or I could click to go to the book landing page and assign it from here. And when I click on, oh, of course I chose one that doesn't have a quiz. Must be too low. Let's find another one. But do you see these check boxes? If a quiz were available, I would have a third option and I could check or uncheck the quiz. Let's go back and try. A different one. Oh, that's not what I wanted. We'll try winter this time. So these are both AA. I know they're not going to have a quiz. Oh, we'll try winter holidays. And we'll just go ahead and assign it from here. Boy, I am striking out today. I'm not getting any books with quizzes.
Is there a way you can do a search, like narrow your search that allows you to find one that have the quizzes on them?
Let's see. So my filter options are over here on the left. I can filter by skill. I don't think I can filter by resource type. Okay. Jenna, do you know?
I'm looking now. I'm not sure.
Oh, see, this one is only a read. Well, you know what? I've been assigning my tree books. I'm going to go do a tree search because I know those have the quizzes. Oh, I clicked on the wrong link. So notice it does show me here. The reason I went to the book landing page is it will tell me on the landing page if it has the quiz. Here we go, finally. So I want to make sure that that quiz box is checked if I actually want to assign the quiz in addition to having the students listen and read to the book. And again, just like all of the assignment options in Raz-Plus, I can choose specific students. I can do all my students. I can do a group that I have already created. I'll do all students and we'll just go ahead and assign it. So that's the teacher perspective. Let's go look at the student perspective. So I think I'll go in as somebody who's in the elementary portal. I think West Test is elementary. Let's see. Sorry, I can't remember. Nope, intermediate. Well, we'll go look at the primary portal in just a minute. So you can see here, because the students already been through the placement tool, they have more options available to them. And if I go to assignment and click, here's the about trees that I just assigned. And the student has all three options because I checked all three options. Again, quiz is grayed out until I actually read the book. I can't take the quiz without reading the book. I can take it without listening to the book, but not without reading the book. And it does, it keeps track of how much.
Listening?
I'm sorry?
Can you take it with just listening?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you can. And it does keep track of how much time the child takes to read the book. Like if I just go through and madly click, go to the next page, go to the next page, go to the next page, it will give me a message that says, I think you read that too fast. Go back and do it again.
Good.
So that's the quiz in assignments. Let's just go take a look. It looks pretty much the same no matter where you are, but I just want you to see it. Animal tongues, always popular. So notice it gives the kids a little preview underneath, right? The headphones is listen, the book is read, the question mark is the quiz. And it tells them if they've completed it or not. So I had actually completed all three activities for this book. And that's what it looks like to go in to one that you haven't completed yet. And it would be the same in Level Up.
So that's Tiffany, that's what they see. Then they can see those things at the bottom right there to know if it's done.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
I find myself sending back assignments constantly because I'm like, no, on my end, I can tell that you didn't do it all. You should see these check marks.
Yeah. Green and a check mark on the first two is done. Blue and a check mark on the quiz means it's done.
All right. Blue on the quiz though.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So any questions on the comprehension quizzes? Jenna, anything to add?
No, I think that was good.
Okay, so let's go take a look at our next option, which I think is one of the most powerful tools in Raz-Plus, which is practice recording. So again, this is another formative assessment option, and it is available in all of the areas, the reading room, the My Assignments, and Level Up. So there is the ability to record students reading and score it using a running record. That's a separate area. Though that's what Raz-Plus calls its benchmark assessments, and we will go look at that. So just know that's a little bit different. The big difference is that with the benchmark assessments, it has a running record system created for you for scoring. For the practice recordings, it's just that you listen to it. And mostly to check for fluency. Most teachers have reported that the microphone is pretty sensitive, so they're able to hear if a parent is coaching in the background, which is nice.
I can attest to that, helping my son and being on the side, kind of sounding a word out with them, and you could definitely hear it on the recording. So I thought that was nice. Yeah.
So again, we're going to go take a look at where you would find it on the teacher end once a student has done a practice recording, and then we'll go look at it from the student perspective. The only tricky thing is that the recording has to last at least 30 seconds for it to be stored by Raz-Plus. And I assume that's so they don't want just kids being silly, and doing silly little recordings, but it won't appear in your management system unless it's 30 seconds or longer. So let's go take a look.
someone was saying at the last one that kids were able to highlight words. Is that true on these recordings when the kids are reading the text? Are there words that if they can't read it, the text will read it for them? Or is that
Yeah.
only? It is?
I believe so. Well, we'll go try it.
Okay.
So here's the teacher perspective. So if I go to my manage students area and go to, let's see, is it roster or assignments? I think it's assignments. I could be wrong about that. Oh, it's not assignments. Let's go look at our roster. It might be reports.
On your slide, it says reports, Tiffany, if that
Oh,
helps.
thank you. I'm glad somebody jumped in to help there. Thank you. So under reports, there it is, student activity, practice recording. So if I can see how many they've done, and I believe I click on the student, and then you can see this is a hyperlink. It will tell me how long. And what I like is that it shows me the book. And again, you're not going to be able to hear it because I have my headphones in. But I'm hearing myself reading it. But again, notice there isn't really any way to score the student. You can send a message to the student. You can make some notes for yourself. You can give the student stars. We talked about that in an earlier session. That's the incentive system. Kids can spend their stars on making their avatar look nicer. So what were we going to
Sorry, the recording can also be downloaded as an MP3 if you need to share it with anyone.
Oh, yes, thank you. Oh, I didn't know that, Jenna. I learned something.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's go answer Gretchen's question. Let's go to our student account and we'll go to animal costumes because who doesn't love cute animals? And we will go to read, right? So that's where the recording button is available. And here it is, the little red microphone up top. I'll go to a different page. I do have to click on the red square with the white circle. So you might want to model this for your students if you want them to do it at home. People wear, yes.
Okay.
So it does give kids the help with sounding out words if they need it. But again, I think you would hear that unless they had headsets in. The microphone would pick that up. Animals can wear costumes too. A dog can wear the wings of a butterfly. I'm trying to get to 30 seconds. Oh, that one's really cute. A dog can wear the mane of a lion. Okay, I'm at 30 seconds, so this one will be stored. Notice the student can listen back to what they've recorded. They can also say, oh, that's a bad recording. I want to start over.
Tiffany, do you know do you have to, can you assign that you want them to record, or is that like kind of a separate thing, like where I'd put it on my Seesaw, today you're going to practice recording yourself and this is how you do it?
Yeah, so if you wanted to do the practice recordings,
yeah,
I think you would do it as a Seesaw assignment.
Okay. And then the running
again,
record,
if you're going to do the
separate.
benchmark assessment,
Yeah.
that you would still need to, you might want to mention, put it in your Seesaw list, but the benchmark assessments, they have to record. And we'll go take a look at that in just a minute.
I've assigned a benchmark, the reading one, but I haven't done a practice reading. So I was curious if that was like a button that I could click on, or if that's just a separate thing on Seesaw that I would use.
I would push it out as an assignment.
Yeah.
And you would have to say to the kids, in addition to listen and read and quiz, when you go to the read, I want you to do a practice recording.
Okay. But they wouldn't get a check mark for that, like at the bottom of like.
Correct. And I think that's why it gives you that option to award them stars.
Okay. Yeah.
At the bottom.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Good question. Other questions?
Thank you.
And again, that recording button is there when they're reading, whether it's in the reading room, in an assignment, in Level Up. I think, was it Sarah last time who was asking about the kids sounding out the words in Level Up? Let's go just take a look. So this is Level Up, where the kids are trying to advance to the next reading level. And Sarah had a question about, I think she didn't like it that they could access that help when they were trying to level up.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So here I go to my practice recording. These are, oh my goodness, I don't know that word. Yep, they can, even in Level Up, they can hear the word. I kind of like it, but.
Yeah, I think it gives them that support, you know, if the teacher's not available right there with them. And then as the teacher, you will know, I mean, you can hear it, you'll know that they used that support. So.
I know that Corey L'Italian has been using the practice recording a lot in 5th grade. So if you have questions, you can ask her. But she said she liked it because in the classroom, even with the smaller number of students, there's so much background noise. You know, just having the kids read with her, lots of interruptions, hard to focus. So she feels like she has a much better sense of their fluency from doing these practice recordings. And she said also for the kids who are shy and don't like to read in front of others, you know, everybody does that thing where, okay, you read this paragraph, next student reads next paragraph. She has kids who hate that, right? We all do. And so she has been using the practice recording a lot just to get a feel for her students' reading fluency.
Is she having them do that at home, Tiff?
Yes, at home. Yep. All right. Any questions on the practice recording? Trying to do my wait time. Hey, Chris joined us. Hey, Chris.
Hey, sorry. I'll have to watch the recording because I really wanted to come to this, but some things I had to attend to.
No worries.
I got to jump off at 1:35 for my next meeting. So.
All right. So let's move on to our next assessment option. And this one is what Raz-Plus calls benchmark assessments. And again, I just want to clarify, this is not an expectation from the district. This is not a district benchmark. This is just what Raz-Plus calls these. But I think the idea is that, you know, as compared to the other options, this is more of an intermediate assessment, and you do get a lot more data from these. So they have a lot of great support resources on benchmark assessments. That video tutorial on the right is very good. So I would encourage you to go check out the video. It's going to give you a lot more detail than I'm able to give you now because of our limited time. But just the quick overview, it's called Flight Check for the primary portal and assessments for the intermediate portal. So that only appears if you have pushed out an assessment, one of these benchmark assessments. And if it's a book or a passage, that benchmark assessment is going to have 3 parts. The kids are going to read the book or passage, record themselves reading. They're going to record themselves retelling what happened in the book or passage. And then it ends with a reading comprehension quiz. You as the teacher have in your manage students area an in basket, and all those benchmark assessments go to your inbox once a student has completed them. And I will show you how you find and assign them. It's under that resources link that we looked at in the last session.
Tiffany, excuse me. Can I ask you a quick question? In my e-basket, if I listen to a student, you know, if I listen to their recording, does that take it out of the classroom teacher's basket as well? Like, I don't want to cause a problem. If I listen to something, does that negate it? Like it's, oh, teachers heard it. or will it remain in the basket? Do you understand what I'm saying for both?
So you can always get back to the students' recordings. So let's go take a look at it now. Sorry about this. This is part of the new printing system. That message always pops up on my screen. So let's see. I think this is my teacher account. So do you see this little red square with a number 2? That means that I have 2 benchmark assessments that I have not reviewed yet. And if I click on my inbox, you can see you have a tab for awaiting review, which is these 2, and what's already been reviewed. So what I'm not sure about, MJ, and we'll have to test this out, is if you've reviewed it, does the red bubble go away for the teacher, and does it move from awaiting review to reviewed just for you or for the homeroom teacher as well?
Right.
I think it would depend on, my guess would be if you assigned it, then it's only under awaiting review for you. Whereas if the classroom teacher assigns it, it's only under awaiting review for them. But I will have to test and get back to you on that one.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, but thank you. All right.
Yeah. So I have pushed out 2 benchmark assessments, and these are actually not books or passages. These are alphabet and high frequency words, which we'll come take a look at a minute. But this is where I go to see what the students have completed in terms of benchmark assessments. Now let's just go back and look at how you assign them. So I'm going back to the main Raz-Plus page. And this is that resources menu that we looked at last time. And if you go down a little ways, assessments is one of your choices. And remember that the orange planet means you can digitally assign it. So we'll do books. And these are the reading levels for which benchmark books are available. Again, I go to the landing page and I can get more information. I find these previews really helpful. And you can see, we didn't talk about this earlier, but you have 2 options for scoring a benchmark assessment. You can print the form and do it the old way, pencil and paper, or you can score it using a digital running record. And we'll take a look at that a little bit later. But let's just go back to assign. Just like with all of the Raz-Plus assignments, I can choose who I'm assigning it to. Whole class, group, specific student. And we'll just go ahead and do it to all of the kids.
Tiffany, did I notice that it only went up to J for the benchmark assessments?
So it depends on what you're assessing. And I'm going to go back and look at my slides because I listed it on the slide. So for books, it's AA through J. For passages, it's AA through, so it's all the way for passages. And I think that's just because at the higher levels, the books would be too long.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, I should have seen that. Sorry.
Nope, nope. Other questions on the benchmark assessment from the teacher perspective? We'll go take a look at the student view in a sec. Okay, let me go back to my student account. So again, this is the intermediate portal. I'm going to sign out and just go into a student that has the primary portal because we haven't really looked at that yet. Can't remember who's on what, so we'll try elementary DLC. There we go. There's the primary portal. And so again, it's called Flight Check. They have cutesy little names for the primary portal. In the intermediate portal, it's called Assessments. I click, again, this is the incentive system, which remember you can turn off if you don't want it. So you can't hear it, but it's telling me that it's going to take 15 minutes to go all the way through this assessment. So it's telling me if I don't have 15 minutes to do this later. Now, we don't have 15 minutes, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and do it anyway. So you can see in the benchmark assessment, the student does not have to click on the record button. It automatically starts recording as soon as they say okay. So the little green bar is telling me that my microphone is working, and then it's showing me the length of the recording. I can pause it and continue it. And obviously, because it's a book, I can turn the pages. Oh, or maybe that was a passage.
Question, will it
Yeah.
read the word to you at this level?
Ooh, I don't know if I can get back
Might
in
have
this
to,
account.
yeah, start
Let's
again.
go. I don't think it does, but let's go into another account. See how it's gone now? It thinks that I've completed it.
JRB is also a primary account
Yeah.
if you want to.
Let's log out and try a different one. Good question. So this one's a little different. Did I not assign it? I thought I had assigned it to everybody. This one is a letter benchmark assessment.
So if I remember correctly, the student will only see one assignment at a time. And
Yes.
because the student already had this other assignment, it's going to show up first, and then the one you just assigned won't show up until they've completed this one. But it's there, it's in the queue, they just can't see it yet.
So it's good that we did this. So let's just quickly go through our letters. I, W, I, F, O, Z, D, V, T, Y, R, I'll get something wrong here, M, Z, D, X. Let's try reloading. See if we can get Flight Chick to come out. I could also log out and log back in. If not, we'll try it in one of the other student accounts. There it is. Okay. I'm guessing no, because this looks to me like a PDF, but let's see. Dinosaurs. Yep, nope, look, I can't access any of those scaffolding tools that I was able to access in the other areas. So I guess we could tell Sarah, if she's concerned about students being able to listen to the word, that she should push out a benchmark assessment, right? Rather than level up. And I'll go ahead and finish this one just so we can see what it looks like. The rest of it looks like. So notice it's forcing students to go through the sequence of read, retell, and quiz. They can't change the order. So this is about dinosaurs. I didn't really read it, so I don't really remember or know, but yeah, dinosaurs.
Tiffany, tell me some of the
Yes.
kids are going to sound exactly like you.
And then the third step in any benchmark assessment, if it's a book or a passage, is the comprehension quiz. And again, I'll just answer A to everything to get through it so you can see. Nice try. I think I didn't do very well. But again, notice I still get my stars, right? The incentive system is organized around effort, not skill. All right. So that's how teachers assign benchmark assessments and students access them. We are going to go over how you score the benchmark assessments. I just want to briefly show you the other benchmark assessment that's available for our lower elementary friends, because we do have many of you here, so Lisa, Melissa, MJ especially, right, who work, and Jess, who work with the really little kids. So they do have, let me start sharing my screen again. In addition to benchmark assessments for books and passages, they have letters and words. It looks the same from the student perspective. I mean, you kind of got to see it already because we did do that one letter benchmark assessment. So the kids access it from Flight Checker assessments, and they get the recording, basically, is all it is for letters and words. You're recording the student identifying or saying the letters and the words. And you can see down there at the bottom, I have a short list of what's available. Uppercase letters, lowercase letters, a mix. And then they have like, I think it's 4 different sets of high frequency words. Lastly, before we go into scoring with the running records, they do have a lot of benchmark phonics assessments, but those cannot be digitally assigned. You can print them or project them, but you can't push them out for kids to access through Flight Check or assessment in the Kids A to Z portal. And most of the stuff under the phonics list makes no sense to me because I'm not a reading teacher, but I'll just briefly go show you. I would hope to give you some time to explore on your own, but I don't think we're going to have time. So if you go to assessments, notice the books, the passages, the alphabet letters, and the high frequency words have the orange planet, so they can be digitally assigned. The phonics stuff cannot. But if I click on it, I'll just give you a feel for what's there. So this is all gobbledygook to me, but I'm hoping it makes sense to you guys. So that's phonological awareness, and then they have a whole separate section on phonics. Questions on those letter and word benchmark assessments or the phonics?
I do. I have a quick question. Can you actually make your own, like say, high frequency word assessment? Can you make anything? Can you add? No. Okay.
No.
Just curious.
No.
Okay. I have to check it out.
You're just pulling from their library, which are all PDFs and therefore not editable. All right, so I'm afraid we're going to skip over the Explore because I do want to show you the scoring, because I think, again, this is, from my perspective, one of the more powerful options in Raz-Plus, which is the ability to have a digital running record that feeds into the reports. So I just wanted to go in as a teacher and show you what it looks like to score a student's benchmark reading assessment, whether it's a book passage. You obviously have a lot more to scoring a book or a passage than to scoring a letter or word identification assessment. And again, I will say they have some pretty good resources that are available there on the right if this brief overview is not enough for you. So let's just go take a look at that. So again, I'm in under my teacher account. So I'm going to go to Manage Students. And notice my inbox is changing as students complete more benchmark assessments. So it tells me down here, right, what type of assessment it is. We'll go into this, I think it was a passage or a book running record because, again, there's a little bit more complexity for obvious reasons to those. So here's what you see. You can obviously listen to the student. And as you're listening, you're marking when you hear, clicking on the word when you hear a mistake, and here are your choices. And I'm just going to, now notice it did pause the recording for me once I clicked on a word. And then when it resumes the recording, it backs it up a little bit so that you don't miss anything. But you can also always back it up yourself.
So you're just hovering over it and then you
Hovering and
click.
clicking.
Okay.
Just a left click.
Oh, left click. Okay.
And that drop down menu will come up. But this to me is what makes this awesome.
Yeah.
Notice it's doing the math over here
Yeah, I like that.
as I score.
Yeah, I know.
And not only does it do the math, but the data feeds into their reporting system so that, you know, you can get a record of what a student has done over time. And just like before, we can send a message to a student. We can make our own notes that the students and the parents don't see. We can give some stars out, download the MP3. But this is the other thing that I love. You can print the results. So if you wanted to print a report for a parent to send home a hard copy, you could. Once you've finished scoring the recording of them reading, you save. And for the retell, it's a rubric, not a running record. And again, they have created the rubric for you, and you just choose from the pop-up menus. Remember, this is the student who just said dinosaurs. Yeah, don't know much about them. So I'm going to give them a pretty low score. Same options down here at the bottom. Then we save, and it does auto score the quiz. You don't have to score that, but you can see the results here. I didn't do very well. Once I choose finish, notice my number next to my inbox goes from 5 to 4. And it's now listed under reviewed rather than awaiting review. The scoring for the high frequency words and alphabets is very similar, except obviously much more simplified, right? You don't have as many choices in the pop-up menu. Now, I know that was fast, so I'm going to stop and see if anybody has any questions about how you score the benchmark assessments as a teacher.
Could I ask you a question? Sorry.
Sure.
So if I'm doing this with, say, 2 or 3 students on a live remote session, can I pull up multiple different stories? So in other words, one student, the other 2 students are on mute, one student is doing an assessment. I don't want the next student to read the same assessment.
Yeah, so let's go back. I'm just going to share my screen and show you the teacher view again. Almost everything in Raz-Plus is projectable as well as printable, and not everything's digitally assignable. But if I go to resources and I go to assessments, we'll just pick a passage. Notice I get the little screen, the little picture of the screen or monitor. So that's telling me that I can project it. So yes, you could project, and you could have multiple tabs open if you wanted to go ahead and pull them up ahead of time.
Got it. That's easy. Thank you.
Yep.
Tiffany, I have to go, but I just have a quick question.
Sure.
It's not about Razcast, but just about the computers in my room. Are the old Macs that we have in our rooms, could we assign kids with mics to go and redo that assessment in class? Do you know if the old Macs have that ability?
Yeah, so all Macintoshes, haha, you PC people out there, have microphones built in.
Okay, so we could have, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so
All
you
right,
would have to plug in the headset, obviously.
All right, Thank you. Bye,
Yep,
guys.
bye. Sorry, just had to get my dig in there about PCs. Couldn't resist. Door was there, it was open, I had to go through it. Okay. Running records, scoring benchmark assessments, we good? All right, so I'm going to conclude our whirlwind tour here with a quick overview of the reports. Because again, I feel like this is really what I love about Raz-Plus, is that data. I know data's sometimes overemphasized in schools, but I think when it comes to reading, it's really helpful for teachers to have that data that's stored for them over time without you having to flip through piles of paper and manually enter stuff into spreadsheets and then graph it yourself. So let's just take a quick look at the reporting options in Raz-Plus. So we'll go take a look from from the teacher perspective in just a minute, but I just want you to know that these are the options. So you can look at student activity, you can look at their skills, you can look at their assignments they've completed, you can look at the assessments they've completed, and it does a nice graph of their reading levels, progress, that shows you over time what's changed with a student's reading level. And again, all of the reports you can bring up on your screen, but you can also print them. And they do have a great handout. The link is there on the right with more information, because this is going to have to be fast because I would like to get you out on time. So, and under my teacher account, if I go to manage students, reports is one of my options. I'll just show you what they look like. So here are my choices across the top, right? So I like that I can just see who's been logging in and how much time they've spent. But I can also look at how my students are doing by skill. And it even color codes it for you, which skills are in the green, the red, the yellow. And if I wanted more information, I could click, right? Anything that's blue is a hyperlink. And again, notice I can filter and look at a group or a specific student. I can also filter by date. So I can see what assignments the student has completed. Assessments. And this is the one that I think is, right? So they don't really have enough data yet on my students, but if they did, I could get a nice graph. Well, let's see, maybe. But that's what it would look like. The student hasn't done much. But this, I think, is pretty awesome. Now, I thought this was printable. I'm looking for the print button. Oh, there it is, in a different place. We'll see if any of my students have done any more. Yeah, all my kids are flatlined. Nobody's learning anything in my class. All right, that's all I got, but I'm happy to stay on for questions because I know that was really fast.
Tiffany, I have a question, if I could, please.
Sure.
I wanted to be able to save via slide deck for reference and for the links that you have on there. How do I do that?
So just go to the File menu. Well, actually, I'll demo. So two options. You can open the slide. You've got the slide deck open now. If you go to File and make a copy.
Okay.
And say entire presentation, you can rename it and you can choose where in your Google Drive you want to put it.
Oh, okay.
That's one option. Also on the AWRSD website, the DLCs have been uploading all of our presentations and slide decks from Teacher PD. So it's a little hard to find though. This to me is not logical. You have to go to About Us, and then you see a choice called Professional Development. This is the button to actually get to the resources. And there are things other than technology that are here. If you click on the arrow, it'll give you a drop down. And I believe the Raz-Plus stuff is located under ebooks. So these are those choice boards that we've been using. And we've embedded the Google Slides presentations, right? But I could jump ahead just to the Raz-Plus slide. And you can see I've been adding in the links to the slides in the recording here too. So I'll do today's in the next couple of days.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Other questions?